I'm going to talk about the history of this temple. The year's 1859 when we were founded, and there were 33 United States. James Buchanan was president. Lincoln and Douglas were campaigning for president. The Civil War threatened. It started in April 1961. Jews had come to Georgia in 1733, first to Savannah. Though not welcomed by General Oglethorpe, they settled in this English colony. The city of Macon was established in 1823. Because observant Jews must be buried in consecrated, separate ground, the Hebrew Burial Society established a cemetery in Rose Hill in 1844. There were enough Jews in Macon by 1859 that the need for a congregation became apparent. On October 30th, 1859, 8 men met, and I won't read you their name, and they established a group called Congregation Kahal Kodesh Beth Israel, and agreed that the form of worship should be German and Orthodox, the most traditional. The state of Georgia granted permission to this new group on December 14, 1859. The first services were in Hebrew and in German. There were 78 members on this new congregation's roll. The new congregation rented a room on Cherry Street, this street right here, over Horn's Confectionery Shop, which is now the Federal Bankruptcy Court. The first house of worship was 28 feet by 50 feet. It was made usable as a congregation synagogue for less than $200. A Torah, our sacred scroll, was purchased for $110, and the rent was $12.50 a month. The first rabbi was hired, Reverend Henry Lowenthal of London. Reverend Lowenthal left his synagogue in Hartford, Connecticut, and came to Macon, Georgia. Since that date, our congregation has engaged 24 rabbis. One rabbi, Isaac E. Marcuson, served 50 years. The congregation moved to a meeting place on 2nd Street downtown. By 1871, when it was 12 years old, the congregation began building its first temple at the corner of Poplar and 2nd Street. The congregation was moving away from Orthodox, most traditional, towards Reform, because a pipe organ was installed. Services began in the first building in 1874. The congregation moved further towards Reform and in 1880 joined the Reform Union of American Hebrew Congregations. 25 years after moving into their new building, the area became market on Saturdays. Surrounding farmers drove their wagons into town. Remember, there's no such thing as air conditioning. And it's summertime in Macon, Georgia. You left the windows open, and you hear all the noise of the market and the animals and the people, and it probably smelled pretty awful too. So the congregation purchased this property, the corner of Spring and Cherry, and the first service was held in this building in April 27, 1902. In our congregation's 162-year history, we've had 61 presidents. Our longest serving president was my great-grandfather. His name was Gus Byrd, and he served as president for 20 years. Our first female president was Frida Nadler. She was elected in 1977. Our Sisterhood Women's Group began in 1915. Our first female rabbi was hired last year. Our congregation membership fluctuates between 75 and 300 families. Our in-person meetings were shut down due to coronavirus March a year ago. We hold parking lot services, we hold Zoom services, and we hold courtyard programs. That's it.